You know what time it is.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On today's show, we'll talk the NBA playoffs. It's the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, so we'll investigate each series, give our predictions. We'll also hear from Bob Cousy and Redick as they go back and forth discussing the modern versus old era NBA. All that before we give out our own custom NBA awards for the season, talk the worst fan bases in all of sports, and discuss potential number one picks in the NBA draft. Welcome to the Bona Fide Scrubs alongside Noah Levine. I'm Will Swankie, and this is episode 1. This is the attempt number 2 at episode 1 after we had technical failures in the real first episode. There's a lot to get used to here. There's a whole new setup in front of me. There's all kinds of things I can play. I mean, look at this.
Wow.
Yeah. How about that? Isn't that cool?
That is pretty cool.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, there you go. Let's hear from Don again.
That's cool, man.
There's a lot to get used to here. This is intro. This is the intro attempt like number 3. What did I say? No, the first time, May 5th, 2020 was the date or something.
Yeah, we were recording on Friday. It's supposed to be the 2-year anniversary of the first episode, which was May 20th, 2020. You said May 5th. You got the date wrong, and just before we started this episode, you said NFL draft instead of NBA draft.
Right. Yeah. The episode 1 rust is real after 1 year of not doing the show. So
yeah, we went
gotta
on
get back used to doing things. We're gonna try and upload 2 shows, I think, a week. I think we're gonna do Tuesdays and Fridays. This one might be up a little bit earlier because we want to get things started, but right now that's the upload schedule and the plan.
Yeah, you guys will probably be listening to this maybe on Monday afternoon, though, just trying to get the first episode out. Then another episode will drop on Friday, and then we'll just go to the real cycle that Will just said, Tuesday and Friday.
Yeah, trying to get this back up off the ground now with the video. So if you're listening on audio, go over to the YouTube channel, Bona Fide Scrubs, over there. Subscribe and enjoy the video version because that probably will do better than the audio as we now learn from doing a year of this show, audio only. Now we're used to uploading the video and doing better that way. So hopefully you're over there. There's a lot we missed throughout this year already, a lot we missed throughout the NBA playoffs. Last time we did this show, there were no sports. There was nothing at all for us to jump into, so we kind of had an opportunity there in 2020 to talk about whatever we wanted. Now we're kind of here getting ready for the NBA Finals almost, as it's almost June. But we will start just before then with the conference finals in both the East and the West. We'll start with the East because I feel like a more engaging series, a more interesting series. And on the original version of this episode 1, I gave you my prediction saying that I thought the Heat would win 7. You disagree with me, but I look like a genius now after Miami goes into Boston Garden, TD Garden, whatever you want to call it, and defeats them in Game 3. You said that the Heat were going to have a hard time winning on the road in TD Garden in Boston. So, I mean, what did you think about this game where the Heat were able to come in and win?
Yeah, about that. That I was very shocked. It just proves my point, though. Jason Tatum really just isn't that guy that everyone says he is. He had 10 points in 41 minutes. He shot terribly. They went, and Jimmy Butler went down like the third quarter, and the Heat still won. I mean, we were talking about on the fake first episode that Bam needed to be more involved, and guess what? He scored over 30 points, so they got him involved. And I said they did need Lowry. He was an X factor, and Lowry, he only scored 11 points with his veteran leadership, and he hit some big shots in the fourth quarter, which he's been doing for his whole playoff career. So it's interesting that he won that easily. I mean, they were up like 20 points after the first quarter, but I am kind of shocked. But it really just shows how inconsistent the Celtics are this season, and especially in the postseason at home.
Yeah, I think Jason Tatum's inconsistency is starting to get exposed. Let me read you his game whole playoffs. Let's just observe the inconsistency here. So game 1 against Brooklyn, 22 points, 30% from the field. Game 2, 9 points, 25% from the field. Then the rest of the series, he's great. 50 points in game 3, 53% from the field, 40 points in game 4. 40 points in game 4, 45% from the field. Then we get to I'm reading the wrong Brooklyn series. They played Brooklyn in 2021, and I'm reading the 2021 box score. All right, that's idiocy by me.
That is not good.
The real Brooklyn series. Here we go. The real Brooklyn series with Jason Tatum. Game 1, 31 points, 50% from the field. Okay, good game 1. 31% from the field. Okay, bad. Then the rest of the series is pretty good. 40 points in game 3, 48% from the field. Then 30 points in game 4, 56% from the field. Then we get to the Milwaukee series. 21 points in game 1, 30% from the field. Game 2, 30 points, 50% from the field. Then game 3, 10 points, 21%. Yeah. So he goes back and forth. He had 46 points in game 6, 53%, but then just 23 in game 7. So his inconsistency, I think, is being exposed here. And like you said, he's just not able to lead a team consistently every single game, which is kind of exposing their team. I mean, they need these other players to step up and help him out when he's not performing well. And that's just, it's the mark of a good player in the playoffs when you can perform every single time consistently the same way. So he's just not yet ready to consistently lead a team, I think, through this point.
Yeah, I agree. He's probably barely a top 10 player in the grand scheme of things. He's not top 5. Okay, everyone needs to shut up. He's not better than Kevin Durant. I know he just outplayed Kevin Durant in a playoff series. But KD he had some bad night. He doesn't really, when KD is activated and he's not playing on a dysfunctional organization like the Nets, he'll score 35 every game. We saw him win 2 Finals MVPs, okay? Jason Tatum is not on that level. And you're probably right. Honestly, I thought the Celtics would win this series, but I might have to change my prediction. I'm going to flip-flop already after game 3. If Jason Tatum just has another stinker, it's going to be over. But the bright side of him is when he scores 10 points, usually follows up with like a 35-point game. So that's probably what's going to happen in game 4. And I could see Boston winning and going 2-2 back to Miami.
Okay, so they're going to get one at home. I mean, yeah, they kind of have to if they don't want to fall down 3-1. And, yeah, they're basically done after that. So, yeah, I mean, they need to get game 4 for sure. And Tatum's going to have to play better. And he probably will, just based on every other game. It seems like he's only able to perform well.
Yeah, the Heat. I also lied to myself on that fake last episode. I said that the Celtics have better role players. I'm changing that also. The Heat definitely have better role players. I've seen enough. Boston only plays like 6 guys, I realized. Payne Pritchard is not really a factor. He's not being guarded by like Bruce Brown and these random guards that can't do anything. Gabe Vincent is an okay backup. Max Strus, the former D2 player, has become a sharpshooter. He's a nice player, but I don't even know how the Heat find these guys off the streets. Remember, they got Duncan Robinson off the street, but they paid him $90 million, but he's disappeared this entire playoffs. He's unplayable, I guess. Hero's good. They have Larry. Oladipo played one of the best games. I'm not saying of his career, like scoring wise, but defensively, he had a lot of steals. He disrupted a lot of plays for Tatum and Brown. So the Heat have like 7 or 8 guys that you can really trust, and I thought I could trust Boston's guys more. But if one of the 2 guys doesn't have a good game, like Brown and Tatum both have to be on, honestly, for Boston to have a chance. Like if one of them scores 10, it's over. And we saw that happen in game 3. Like at least if Jimmy gets hurt and they're off, I don't know, maybe there could be the Tyler Hero game like he did in the bubble against the Celtics, or maybe the Kyle Lowry game, or maybe even the Oladipo game. Clearly game 3 was the Bam game. So just the Heat of more guys. And PJ Tucker's another tough role player who I really like. So the Heat are a better built basketball team, I think.
Yeah, they do have better role players. I said that originally, which is the reason I think that this team is going to be able to go to the NBA Finals. They're the number 1 seed also for a reason. I just think they're a better team, like 1 through 8. If you really look at it, I mean, sure, Tatum is probably the best player in the series, but other than him, I don't see anybody on Boston that's a really more impactful than players on Miami.
Yeah, who would you say is better, Jaylen Brown or Bam as a number 2? Who would you want as a number 2? It's completely different positions.
I think I would
hard.
probably want Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I'd probably say Brown's a little better.
I think Jaylen Brown is a more dynamic scorer. He's a better perimeter player, obviously. Well, I mean, we just saw Bam. I mean, he had a pretty terrible start to the series. I think he had 10 points in a couple of the beginning games. So I think he's a worse player, but it's not by much.
Yeah, what about the third option on both teams? Who would you say the third option is on Boston? Is it Smart? We're just gonna say Smart. So Smart
Marcus Smart
against Tyler Hero, and I'd rather have Tyler Hero, I think, on my team. Even though Smart's good at defense, but he takes a lot of dumb shots. He tries to take over too much.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't have the same depth. They play like a college team. I mean, they have six or seven players that they just rotate in and out. And you can't rely on Grant Williams to have 8 threes in a game 7 all the time. You can't rely on Peyton Pritchard to hit outside shots consistently because he's just not a great role player. So they're just too shallow of a team, I think, to keep this up throughout the playoffs. I think earlier it works. I mean, it worked against Brooklyn because Brooklyn was dysfunctional. It worked against Milwaukee because Middleton was hurt, and they barely went to Game 7. I mean, they did have a pretty good comeback in that series, so credit to them there. But now they're running into the number 1 seed and a team with real depth, with no injuries at this point, now with Lowry coming back and Butler coming back. So I think they're running into competition that's too tough for them in the East Finals.
It's kind of funny how this is the East Finals matchup because there really isn't that much star power in either of these teams if you think about it. They're just... like the Heat of Jimmy Butler, yeah, he's a nice player, but what is he, like the 18th best player in the NBA? Like the 20th? And they just have a bunch of really good role players, like former D2 players like Max Strauss, Gabe Vincent playing playoff minutes. Tyler Hero is the third option on this team. Like, and the Celtics have Brown and Tatum. Yeah, like Brown's a nice player, but he's not like a superstar. And Tatum, people like to say he's a superstar. I'd say he's like maybe barely a tier below that. I wouldn't put him in the Jokic or like Luka conversation yet. So I don't know. Like the teams of real star power just got destroyed by these well-rounded depth teams, I guess. Like the Sixers, James Harden, we saw how that ended. And Brooklyn couldn't even win a playoff game with their stars. In Milwaukee, I mean, Giannis, he should have probably been here, but Middleton got hurt. Injuries happen all the time, so. Just the East just seems kind of bad, and I thought they were the better conference.
Yeah, they are the better conference. I mean, you look at the teams in the West, like the Mavs being in the West Finals. I mean, that doesn't really make much sense. They're a one-man team over there, so they're definitely the East Finals is definitely a battle between two better teams. I think. I mean, the Warriors. We'll get to them in a second. They're a great team, but they should steamroll Dallas and not really have it be that much competition. So I think the matchup between the Heat and Celtics is a much better, more evenly matched series. I think both of those teams could easily beat the Mavs also.
Yeah, I know. The Mavs are kind of the outlier, but if it was Suns-Warriors, both those teams, no doubt in my mind, could just like blow out the Celtics and Heat in a series. The West is more star power, I guess.
Because I've been fading Boston pretty much since the start of the season. Luka and Steph.
You've been fading Boston since the start of the season, just like me. They were 19-20 in January, and then look at their run.
Yeah, right. I wrote an article for school. It was a blog previewing the Atlantic Division, all the teams. And the first line of this article is, no team is positioning themselves for a rebuild quite like the Boston Celtics. Now here they are.
Really wrong. The Knicks are positioned
Finals,
for a rebuild, the Knicks are positioned for a rebuild, not the Celtics. And I mean, my reasoning was fine. I talked about how Brad Stevens was now their president for the first time after, obviously he was one of the best head coaches in the NBA, and then he stepped down. They hired Udoka, the rookie head coach. And I just thought that those players, those people in their new roles, weren't going to be able to save this franchise and make them better from the year before. I mean, they were only 36-36 last season. Yeah, they were not a good team.
I thought they were a little bit better. I had them going 42-40, and they were below 500 halfway through the year. But obviously they flipped a switch in the second half.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna win the championship though. I mean, I still don't like Brown. I mean, I always said I didn't like Brown and Tatum as a real duo. I don't think I think they need another. I think they need a third star. I don't think Marcus Smart can be your third guy and you can win a championship. I mean, maybe if they get through the Heat and somehow beat the Warriors or Mavs, it could be an outlier. But on a championship team, I don't really think Jaylen Brown is good enough to be a second option. I'm not sure about that. Or even Tatum. Is Tatum even good enough to be the first option on a championship team? It's like the Devin Booker thing.
I mean, that's a hot take, saying he's not good enough to be a first option.
I know it kind of is. I'm not sure. I mean, if he is more consistent, yes, but you can't have 10-point games in the finals. I mean, the stakes are at its peak, and like you can't give away games in the NBA finals. So I'm not so sure. I think he's got another year to get another year for to obtain that level. He's not better than Kawhi Leonard, though some people thought he was. I disagree with that.
All right, let's move on to the Western Conference Finals. We've already said it. Warriors against the Mavs. Honestly, not much to say here from me. I think the Warriors, I mean, they're up 2-0. They had an incredible comeback in Game 2 to win that game. And I just feel like that's going to be way too demoralizing for the Mavs to overcome. I mean, they shocked us, even being up by 20 in that game. Everything went right for them. Luka had 42. He was the one-man show again. Brunson had a decent game, over 20 points. But even that just wasn't enough for Golden State to make the comeback. So they should wrap up this series pretty easy, especially after what we saw in that Game 2. But the one thing I just think I can point out here is the Warriors being this good at this point, it still doesn't make sense in my brain. Like, I feel like the fact that if you just look at their lineup, like, okay, Curry is probably a top 5 player, right? So that's like still solid, still one of the best players in the NBA. Then you have Clay, who's definitely not better than he was a few years ago. I mean, you could say he's the same, but even that's not probably true. He had to deal with 2 of the worst injuries in basketball for 2 straight years without even being able to play. So he's probably a little bit worse than he was when they were going to the finals every year. So that's him on the decline. Then there's small forward Wiggins. I mean, sure, okay, he's fine, but
he's good.
I know, and it still doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'll acknowledge that he's good, and I realize that he's good.
Well, look at the Western Conference. I mean, the only true threat to them, if you really look at it, was the Suns, and the Suns blew it because they have CP0. Do you actually think Utah or like the Mavs would actually beat the Warriors in a playoff series, or the Grizzlies? The Grizzlies lost. It was just the Warriors and Suns. There was a 2 horse race in the West all year.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe we're overrating the Warriors then. If I'm breaking this down, like, okay, their power forward's Draymond. I get he does good. Everything else, but he can't score. He's a brick. He scores 5 points a game.
He scored like 10 last game though. But yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know. Just
and their center's Looney. I mean, he's replaceable.
He dropped 21 in Game 3. That was
like their lineup just is not that good.
Yeah, I think it's the best 5-man lineup in the NBA. You forgot about Jordan Poole, who almost averages 20 and plays exactly like Steph Curry. They have 2 Currys on their team.
Okay, I mean, take out Looney and put him in there and move Draymond to center. I mean, it's okay, still.
Well, look how bad
the other I just feel like maybe we might be overrating them.
No, but look at the other teams' lineups. Like, I don't know, like Grant Williams starts for the Celtics, like, or does he? I don't even know, but like the Celtics 5-man best players aren't better than that. Neither is the Heat. I mean, maybe the Heat's close, but like they have Jimmy Butler. It's not Steph Curry, so they can't just score like 10 points in 2 minutes. And the Mavs have Kleber and just memes like Bertans on their team. And the Grizzlies, who they beat, obviously. I mean, Desmond Bane. These are nice players, but it's not Klay Thompson and like, I don't know, Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole is probably better than Desmond Bane, in my opinion. I think you're underestimating
Bane might be better
the
than
Warriors.
Klay.
I don't think so. I'd say they're about the same, but I think Poole's probably better than both of them right now.
No, he definitely is better than both of them.
Yeah, so like,
yeah, I go back and forth on it.
and the Warriors also play great defense. It's not even like when their offense is struggling, they're still one of the best defensive teams, led by Draymond and Wiggins. Wiggins has played pretty good defense on Luka for what he's been able to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I acknowledge that Wiggins is decent, but it
It's just
still
Harrison
doesn't make
Barnes.
sense to me that
He's just playing the Harrison Barnes role. If you think about it, on those teams that
Yeah, but
made the finals.
both Clay and Draymond are way worse than they were then.
All right, I wouldn't say
That's
like,
my point.
How much worse do you think? 50% worse? Like I think 25% worse.
Draymond might be 50% worse than he
But his
was.
No,
Like
his
he was
offense-
scoring 50. He would get triple doubles
yes.
almost every game. Then.
Yes. But his defense is still the same. I feel like his offense is definitely 50% worse.
Yeah,
And then
Clay's
Clay's shooting's still there. I mean, he's just a step.
worse.
Clay's just a step slower. I mean, his defense is definitely worse, but his shooting is like you don't lose your shooting unless
Right,
you're
his
Markelle
defense is
Fultz.
much worse than it was.
Yeah, but you don't lose your shooting unless you're Markelle Fultz. I don't know. Like the NBA, there's really not that
I
many
don't know.
great teams
We'll
to
see.
really look at it. Every good team.
Yeah, it
had
was a wide
problem
open
with
field the whole
them.
time.
Yeah,
Whole
like
season was.
think about it. Every great team had an issue with them. The Warriors, you could say their injuries because we didn't know when like Curry was hurt for a month. And we don't know how good Clay was gonna be, and blah 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 blah. The Suns had 38-year-old Chris Paul playing point guard in the playoffs and known for choking. The Nets have their whole fiasco going. They have no chemistry. KD and Kyrie don't play every time together. The Sixers have James Harden, who's on his last legs. The Bucks, Middleton injury. I mean, every team had some problems to try to overcome, and the Warriors were just the best at it, I guess you could say.
So right now we think it's gonna be Warriors Heat in the finals. We'll see if that comes true. I'm going Heat in 7 and Warriors in a sweep. I don't think Luka even gets one.
Really, I think they get one at home. Game 3's tonight when we're recording. I think Warriors in 5. They ended at 5 in Golden State.
Moving on to another hot topic in the NBA, JJ Redick and Bob Cousy going back and forth discussing the modern era versus the old era NBA. JJ Redick, Noah, I feel like has started to become one of the more outspoken figures in NBA media. He was pretty much an independent podcast. He was with The Ringer for a little while. Now he's on ESPN every week on First Take with Stephen A. And in this case, last week with Mad Dog, Chris Russo. And they got into it talking about the same thing, the modern era versus the old era. Let's hear the debate between Mad Dog and JJ.
Has Paul ever been first team All-NBA?
Did Bob Cousy ever shoot over 40% from the field?
Well,
in his
we
career?
understand that.
Did
You're
he
right.
overshoot? Did he
No,
ever shoot
probably
over
not.
40%?
Probably 39, 40%. Different kind
Not
of game.
once.
It's
Not
fair.
once.
That's fair. You also had 29 assists in an NBA game.
Oh, well, you know, he was being guarded by plumbers and firemen.
So the classic argument there from JJ, the plumbers and firemen. Lots of people, I feel like that's more the most shocking event possible. Bob Cousy himself responds to these comments. He went on Sirius XM to talk about JJ. Let's hear from Bob Cousy himself.
People with less talent will always try to make a name for themselves by criticizing other people and hopefully getting some attention and perhaps increasing their credibility. So when you respond to something like this, you play into their hands. I won't do that, but I will defend the firemen and the plumbers that he referenced.
Plumbers.
And I'll just give you a few of their names of these firemen that I played with and against during those years. How about Bill Russell, the aforementioned, not too bad a player. Wilt Chamberlain, remember that guy? He wasn't bad. I recall. I guess he must have fought fires as well, but in any event.
So Bob Cousy coming right out of the 1920s radio to talk about this.
I'm
Number one, though,
surprised-
Bob Cousy, he's still alive. I mean, completely shocking.
I did not know that. Yeah, I didn't know
93
that.
years old.
Wow.
Still NBA royalty there, Bob Cousy. But I mean, what do you think about this? Do you think that the old era NBA players were plumbers and firemen? That's my first question. I'll get into more things later, but how do you feel about the old era NBA?
Actually, before I respond to that question, well, where do you think Bob Cousy even found out about this? Because he didn't have social media. He probably sits in his house all day. Like, who told him about this?
I don't
Bill
know.
Russell or something? Did someone like text him or
He
something?
probably got reached out to.
Does Bob Cousy even have a phone? An iPhone? I don't even know.
I mean, he sounds with it on the radio show, so
I guess, yeah, he came
I don't know. Maybe he's more modern than we got to give him credit for. Although his mic does sound like a 1940s mic. It does sound like he's at a baseball game about to call the World Series.
Well, he probably called in. I assume he didn't go to a studio since he's 93, but he's probably in a wheelchair or something by now. But the old era NBA, I actually kind of agree with JJ Redick. Okay, I mean, not all of them are plumbers, but Bob Cousy, you're a straight plumber. I'm sorry, dude. You are not good.
Oh no.
Bill Russell, yeah, Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain, no, they're really good players. They're like top 10 players of all time. Bob Cousy, though, I mean, just look at him when you play my team in 2K. Nobody wants to use Bob Cousy, okay? Because he's just a 6'1" white point guard that if he can't do anything in a video game, how's he going to do anything in real life as player? So if Bob Cousy played today, I think he'd be playing D3 basketball.
The one thing, okay, so we cut off the Mad Dog clip early, but the one thing I'll go on to take from his argument is that, I mean, we all acknowledge that like Wilt and these other players, Oscar Robertson, you even just said it, that they'd be able to play in today's NBA.
I did.
But Bob Cousy was all NBA first team in that era.
Yeah.
He was all NBA first team.
Hold on.
With Oscar Robertson playing and with Jerry West playing.
Hold on. He also played. There's also many plumbers, and there's like 10 teams in the league at that time. If Damian Lillard or Steph Curry play against Bob Cousy, you think he make first team All NBA? Would he get 29 assists in a game?
No.
Exactly.
Well, that's interesting because, I mean, it's more about getting 29 assists is more about the other players scoring.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, you could say they were guarded by plumbers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, besides Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain, I mean, who were the other good centers then? I guess Willis Reed and I guess Bob Pettit. He wasn't really a center though, so. But it's funny how he's calling out JJ. I mean, JJ is a good player. I guess I have to say he's more talented than Bob Cousy if I'm on JJ's side. JJ is like a 40% 3-point shooter in the NBA.
I mean,
wasn't even a 3-point.
Cousy doesn't think so. He really took a shot at Redick. He said people with less talent will always try and call out others to discredit or whatever he said to discredit them. So Cousy thinks he's better all time than Redick.
There was no 3-point. Yeah, okay, he is better all time. Just because I mean, JJ plays today, and he's just a role player, 3-point shooter. I mean, but he's definitely a better shooter than Cousy. There was no 3-point line then. Like, how many points would Redick average in the 1960s? I don't know, but there's also plumbers in every era. Okay, like Frank Ntilikina, would he be a first-team All-NBA player if he played then? Maybe, maybe not.
Right.
Like he kind of sucks. Who's another really bad player? Would Kuruks, the Nets guy, would he be able to guard Will Chamberlain?
Oh wait, I don't have the drop for him. I would have played it. The Rodions Kurucs
I don't
drop.
know. Like Bruce Brown, would Bruce Brown average 40? I don't think so. I mean, there's plumbers in every era, and I mean, there was only like 8 to 10
love
teams.
this kid.
There's only 8 to 10 teams then, so I do think there was definitely a bunch of plumbers. But every sport, I mean, athletes and human nature they've just evolved over the past 50 to 60 years. Like all the training equipment, people are taller, people are stronger than ever, people are conditioned better than ever. So I mean, I kind of have to agree with JJ on this, even though I obviously respect Will Chamberlain, like Bill Russell, for what they did for the game. They're good players. I mean, I think they could play in any era because they're like athletic freaks. Bob Cousy, I mean, JJ did the right thing. If he took a shot at Bill Russell, I would have been on Bill Russell's side, but he took a shot at a guy who's 6'2", and he's good, but he's not like an insane athlete or it has an insane skill set or anything. I mean, he dribbled with his right hand only, and like all those clips are in black and white if you've seen those.
That's the next layer to my question about this is, do you think it's right for JJ Redick, a player himself, a media personality on ESPN, to refer to the old era as plumbers and firemen? Because it's one thing for us on Twitter to do it and like random people, but do you think JJ took it too far being in his position?
I don't think so. I mean, it's kind of funny, but you gotta show respect to the elders and the guys that grew the game. So like Will and Bill, at least he's showing respect to them, I suppose. But he really took a shot at Cousy. But I don't know if JJ Redick was the right player to say this. It'd be funny if like LeBron or like Curry or Dame said this or something. But JJ Redick, I mean, he's a fine player, but he's no Hall of Famer. He's no top 50 player. Like, all right, I don't know. Like, if like Kobe Bryant before he died came out and said this, everybody probably would have agreed with him, like, because it's Kobe. But since JJ Redick, I think Cousy felt like he needed to respond because he's like, oh, who's this guy? He was never first team All NBA. He averaged 15. Like, he's just a spot up shooter. Like, who is he to tell me like I'm bad when I'm first team All NBA? It's kind of a funny beef.
Yeah, I think we got to have a distinction between people that are more talented and acknowledging the greatness of what the old era is, because I don't know, for some reason I am always on the side of the 1960s players. I don't know why they get so much hate. I feel like I have to defend them for some reason.
You're defending Cousy in this
right
situation?
Exactly though. I'm gonna defend Cousy here.
Wow.
Because I feel like are you okay? You just want me to play that again?
Play what again? Wow. Yeah, you are. Why are you defending Cousy? Give me some reasoning behind this.
I just think, okay, so if you take players from today's game like Giannis or Westbrook or anybody with insane athleticism, they could probably go back to the 50s and 60s and score 100 points.
Yeah,
I don't think you can deny that.
Yeah.
I think Curry would just destroy all those players. Anybody from today's game that's a great player would still be a great player back then.
Yeah.
But I think we have to acknowledge, in talking purely about greatness, not necessarily skill, it's important to acknowledge like the foundation that all these players laid out in the old era. Like this is going to be hilarious, but they invented the jump shot. Like the players today would not be able to imitate that part of the game or develop that part of the game if these players back then didn't figure out that it was the best way to play. Like they didn't know, like they invented the pick and roll. Like these schemes that were invented, that's still part of their greatness, that the fact that they're still used today and still, part of the skill set of modern day NBA players. They laid the foundation for that. So I feel like that's definitely something that goes overlooked in these arguments. You just look at, Cousy was 6 feet and had no athleticism and looked like he was 55 when he was 30. Like, yeah, we get it. Giannis would destroy him in a game, but he wouldn't even be playing if it wasn't them inventing the pick and roll or them inventing these different types of sets that they run.
Bob Cousy, it's not Wilt Chamberlain, it's Bob Cousy.
Bob Cousy was first team All-NBA above Oscar Robertson.
I don't care.
Above Jerry West.
I don't care. Like players like I like to watch.
Do you think Jerry West could play? Do you think Jerry West could play today?
I don't know. That's actually a good question. What do you think?
If you think Cousy can't, then West can't either.
Nah, West is the logo though. He has special powers.
That doesn't help him.
West is a better shooter. I don't know. I don't know. Jerry West probably didn't have much athleticism either. I guess they wouldn't be able to play. I guess only Will and Bill Russell. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, they did lay the foundation. Okay, I do agree with that. No, it's not like I'm taking Cousy off the top 50 list. I'm just like, I guess I'll put like an asterisk next to his name or something in the top 50 players.
Why? You're giving so much respect to Bill and Will, but I think in the original episode 1 of this show, we looked at ESPN's top 10 player list.
Yeah.
And they had Wilt and Bill both in there, and you said they shouldn't be, and I did.
Well,
are you taking that back now?
I'm taking that back. My mental health was worse during the pandemic, so that's my excuse. I'd like to announce that it's much better now, and Will and Bill, they can have a spot in my top 10 now.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just-
So
I
you're
just have
giving
the-
them credit now.
I'm giving them credit now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess your argument is still sound if you're flip flopping on that. I don't know. I do think this is. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. No, there's just certain guys that are like gonna be good no matter what, and I just don't think Bob Cousy is one of those guys. So sorry, Bob. You gotta Can you respond to my comments on a radio show?
Congratulations, Bob, for still being alive at 93.
Yeah, I don't
think
even.
that's
Do you think Bill
important to
Russell would have went
acknowledge.
on? Do you think Bill Russell, like Jerry Westwood, went on a radio show and did the same thing? I mean, credit to him for even calling in and doing that. Okay. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another segment here, giving out our own NBA awards. We know the classic NBA awards, MVP, Rookie of the Year. Those have already all been given out. But now here we have we wanted to give out some custom NBA awards that are maybe more creative, maybe things that should be implemented that have not been. So, no, I don't know about you. I have 3 awards to give out. How many do you have?
I have 5. You want me to go first?
All right, you have more than me. Why don't you go first?
All right, we'll go the award that is the player that needs more recognition, and this is Tyrese Halliburton. He averaged about 19 and 10 since joining the Pacers mid-season. He was the big piece of the Sabonis trade. I remember me and you were big fans of his game at Iowa State, and he definitely should have been drafted by the Knicks, but instead we took a dunking power forward, like my least favorite thing in the draft, besides like a wing that can't shoot or something like that. But Halliburton looks like he's going to be an all-star next year, potentially in the East. I feel like he'll become better than Darius Garland, and I like Darius Garland a lot. And he's probably better than RJ Barrett right now on our Knicks. I mean, 19 and 10, and he shoots 41% from 3 on like 6 attempts with an ugly form. And he's been doing that ever since he came into the league. And on top of that, Will, he's a really good defender. He gets a lot of steals, and he knows how to play the passing lanes. So he looks like he'll be a prime player for the Pacers moving forward. Congrats to them on I mean, not really congrats to them because they're really bad, but at least they got a nice piece back for Sabonis, who maybe has a higher ceiling than Sabonis. Who knows? So I think he deserves more recognition. Nobody's talking about him because he's on the small market Indiana Pacers. They're not a sexy team, but in my book, he deserves some credit.
Okay, you'll think he'll be an all-star next year.
I think he definitely could be if he averages 20 and 10 or something like that. 22 and 10, something like that. You could do that easily.
Yeah, that'll be really sad if he's an all-star and the Knicks just didn't take him like idiots.
I mean, the Pistons could have taken him. They took Killian Hayes, too. They kind of fumbled it, too. How nice would have been
we were celebrating that.
It could have been nice. A Cade and a Tyrese backcourt. That would have been really good. Wow.
My first award here is going to be the Skip Bayless Award for player that spends too much time on Twitter and social media. And that this year I am awarding to Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies, the Skip Bayless recipient. Because, this guy, he just tweets after every single game. And I think, we find out why, by observing Ja, we find out why LeBron and Kobe and all these all-time great players never went on social media or tweeted anything during the postseason, just because you're gonna get clowned and you're gonna get trolled if you get eliminated, and you've already dug yourself this hole of having to tweet every single game, which is what Ja did. So after he got eliminated, I saw he was just spamming tweets, like trying to be more active and like bury the fact that everybody was responding to him, calling his team bad and calling him bad for. I mean, the Grizzlies, they were horrible in the playoffs. They actually...
they won a round.
Yeah.
Should have lost round 1.
They should have lost. They kept coming back down 20.
In my book, they're horrible.
But, I mean, they were the number 2 seed. I mean, theoretically, they should have gone much farther.
Than the Warriors, yeah.
So, the Skip Bayless Award goes to Ja. I could have went a little bit different. I could have went to Draymond. I could have went to Patrick Beverly, who's been all over the media recently.
Maybe even LeBron. I mean, remember he said April Fool's him out for the season or whatever, and then he actually was out for the season. He ended up sitting out. But at least it's LeBron. I mean, we can't really hate on him, I guess, if he always wins championships and does stuff. But it's funny that you say about Ja, Will, because I remember him tweeting like a year ago, like if everything didn't run through social media, I would have deleted everything by now. Well, guess what? You're playing into the
what happened to
hands
that?
of fans. You're playing into the middle schoolers and high schoolers are gonna call like Desmond Bain a plumber and stuff. And like your team is terrible.
Yeah, or the
Just making fun of
analysts
you.
on ESPN.
Yeah, the analyst. Like JJ Redick's gonna call you out or something. Kendrick Perkins.
All right, why don't you go next?
This is a two-player award, kind of. It's just most disappointing player. And I guess you can't really fault Dame for this because he's one of the recipients of it, but he was hurt for most of the year. We all thought Portland would probably make the playoffs like they usually do. They sold their whole team at the deadline, and Dame was now just representing his team in the lottery, which got the 7th pick, and they traded his boy CJ. Their team's horrible, and he was hurt for most of the year and had a really bad year before he got hurt. So he's one of the recipients, but I'm not going to put all the blame on him because of the injury and his team giving up early. But Julius Randle, averaging 20 and 10, every percentage, all of his stats going down across the board after the second team All-NBA campaign last year, which we saw. That was awesome. And he basically went back to himself, what he was on the Lakers, just a solid player, but not an all-star, not really a great player. And he was disappointing. We thought the Knicks would be better than Boston this year and Toronto. I don't think either of us had either of those teams making the playoffs, but they did. And now look at Boston in the East Finals with their so-called top 5 player, Jason Tatum. So Julius Randle, screw you. You were very disappointing.
Yeah, wow. I think I have a pretty similar award here to that. I'm going to go with my Team Cancer Award for this season, and it's going to be a co-award. I'm going to give one out to Julius Randle for down the stretch. It seemed like he was very unhappy, creating turmoil in the Knicks locker room. There was all kinds of media pressure on him and all kinds of comments that he made towards the Knicks and towards his teammates that definitely were not going to be well received by the New York media or by his own team. It's going to cause another distraction and another problem for the Knicks, who definitely had a dysfunctional season after a great year, an overachieving year last year.
Yeah.
So this year definitely was a step back for them. Part of that was Randall's fault for the dysfunction that he caused. And then my other one is going to be the most obvious of all, Russell Westbrook. Probably the ultimate team cancer
He sucks
this season.
Yeah, he sucks. And he was fighting fans, basically.
Yeah, so he derailed the Lakers. I mean, their whole team was a mess this year. LeBron got hurt. AD got hurt. So it kind of was just left to him to deal with everything as the last best player, and it was a flop. So
yeah, their team was
both
really
the coasts,
bad.
LA and New York, getting the team cancer award this year from me.
All right, well, my third award, before I get into the funny ones, which we did not hear on the fake first episode on Friday, so we'll get to those after this. This is the award, the trade I wish happened, but unfortunately didn't. And I just want De'Aaron Fox to go to a different team. I wanted them to get him out of Sacramento. But instead, the Kings were like, oh, you know what? Maybe we should actually give this guy another star. I love the Fox-Halliburton pairing in the backcourt. I'm not really sure how Sabonis really fits with them that well. They traded for him, obviously, but I want to see Fox get traded to the Knicks, maybe the Heat, maybe a team that needs a guard. I wanted to see him on a contender, and he unfortunately didn't get traded, so I would have loved to see him in a new uniform. It just didn't happen, though.
Yeah, wow. Kind of a surprise there. I thought you would go with somebody maybe like Damian Lillard, one of your favorite players. He was hurt, though.
That was the problem. Yeah. He maybe would have gotten traded if he wasn't hurt, because they sold the whole team at the deadline there, but
yeah, I feel like Dame, definitely one of the most shocking non-moves of the year. I feel like it was almost like guaranteed he was going to get traded.
Yeah, after all those rumors, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you out of awards or no?
No, I have one left.
All right, read it, and I'll go with my final ones.
It is, my final award is going to be the New York Mets Award.
What?
For a team that had one terrible half of the season and one great half of the season.
Who's
and that's
that?
what it seems like the Mets do every single year. Usually they have an amazing first half and a meltdown in the second half. The team I'm giving it to was the exact opposite, which is much better. The Boston Celtics, we talked about them at the
Oh.
beginning of the show. They were really looking like a team that, like I predicted, was going to need to rebuild in the first half of the year. They were below 500 at the All-Star break. Did not look like a team that was playing together. They were, I think, one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA in the first half, and then in the second half, they were the best defensive team in the NBA. So they really flipped a switch. Something happened. Udoka, the head coach, credit to him, probably a Coach of the Year candidate. They get the New York Mets award for only putting together one great half of the year. It turned out that it benefited them, and now they're in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay. So that's I kind of agree with that. That's a funny award. I mean, speaking of the Mets, they just won today in Colorado, taking 2 out of 3 without any of their good pitchers pitching. So we'll see if they continue that success. And yeah, Boston, we all thought they were going to stink, and now they're in the East Finals. Hopefully we think the Heat are going to win. We'll see if that comes true. But now for my final 2 awards, I'll read one. This is the funny. This is where it gets funny. Best Actor Award, and it's going to no other than Ben Simmons. He pretty much acted.
All right, that's good.
He did nothing. This dude, Ben Simmons, where his team was wearing all black in the playoffs, all black shooting shirts, he decides to wear bright orange on the bench with glasses to stick out. This guy claimed he was depressed. I'm sorry. This guy's the weakest mentally, the mentally weakest athlete I've ever seen in my life. Sat out the whole year. They claimed he was going to play Game 3 when they're down 2-0. No, he's not playing Game 3. Game 4, is he going to play? They claim he's going to play. They need him. They're down 3-0. Oh no, Ben's going to sit out once again. And Ben cried the whole season and wore bright colors and secured money from the Nets and Sixers. And will he even play next season? I don't know what will happen with Ben Simmons, but he definitely put on a show. Best Actor Award.
Yeah, wow. An Academy Award. I want to play this clip. It's from Stephen A. We didn't get to play it. It was going to be a topic on Friday's show about Ben Simmons, but I just want to hear what Stephen A. had to say because I think it's hilarious.
Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons might also be the weakest, most pathetic excuse for a professional athlete we have ever seen in not just American history, but the history of sports. I can't think
American history
of a professional athlete that has come across more
pathetic than this man. All right, what do you think about that? Do you think he's the most pathetic athlete in the history of sports?
Yes. That's why I won Best Actor.
Okay.
Come on, we've never seen this from an athlete just quit for a whole year and just hide. He hid from everything the whole year. Dodged every media session. He dodged literally everything except for his paycheck for the whole year.
It really is bad that the Nets and the Sixers both lost the trade.
Yeah, neither of them made it out of the second round. All right, well, the final award is it's one of Ben Simmons' teammates, the Drama Queen Award, Kyrie Irving. Ben Simmons was more of an actor. This is Kyrie Irving's the Drama Queen. He didn't get vaccinated, and he played half the season, and they thought they were going to win a championship. Him and Kevin Durant. He also didn't show up to a lot of media sessions the past 2 years, and he was just a whole big distraction. Him and Nash and KD, they were never on the same page truly all year. And everyone learned, I mean, we already knew this. You can't just show up in the playoffs without having any chemistry and not doing anything and expect to win. And he was just a drama queen all season. And Stephen A. probably screamed at him many times on First Take. We fortunately don't have any clips of those. But Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving, those are probably the 2 biggest stories of the entire basketball season, if we're being honest. That's why they win Best Actor and then Drama Queen.
Yeah.
I mean, I swear, like every day. Yeah, I swear, like every day, on the K show, every New York radio show, every day on First Take, it was about Kyrie Irving or Ben Simmons. So they stole the show, and you don't want headlines if your team's not winning. And they got swept in the first round, and little Ben did not play.
Yeah, the Nets, I guess they did deserve to sweep all the biggest clown show we could have given out.
Yeah, that was the biggest clown show.
An award at the end of last year. I think we gave it to Kyrie for biggest clown show.
He's 2 years in a row.
Basically back to back.
He will always be a clown show. Yeah, he sucks.
Those were our custom NBA awards. A little bit more fun than I think, the regular awards we get. Those are controversial. People cry about Embiid not winning MVP instead of Jokic.
Jokic should have
But
won.
I think our awards, you can all agree that they were correct. All right, another fun segment. Let's go back to back here with the less serious topics. Somebody, let's see, what is this guy's name? Mike Freeman of USA Today wrote an article, "The Top 10 Worst Fan Bases in Sports." So Noah, I'm gonna have you try and guess what the top 10 worst fan bases in sports are. 8 of them are professional teams. 2 of them are college. So they might be a little bit difficult for you to guess, but
All right.
I think you might be able to get most of these. Let's see how many you can get.
All right. Well, also, I have a question. What do you mean by worst? So do they not show up, or they're just like the nastiest fans, or just like most annoying fans? Do they mean most
All
annoying?
right, let's see. The most annoying, I think a lot of front runners have made this list.
All right. I could think we could figure that out. You want me to start guessing?
Yeah, go for it.
Eagles fans.
Philadelphia Eagles are number 10.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna go.
Yep.
Let's go football.
Oh, you don't want to talk about them any further? You just want to keep going?
Yeah, I'll just keep going. I mean, Eagles fans, they like burned down the city after they won the Super Bowl. I don't think there's much need to be said there.
Yeah, they are pretty toxic.
Can I say Duke fans?
Duke did not make the list.
Oh, okay.
Both the
what
colleges
about
are football, I'll say.
football. All right, wait. Alabama fans.
No, Alabama did not
No?
make it.
Texas.
Texas is number 8.
Okay, we have 10 and 8.
His description for this is they haven't won a national title since the 1800s, yet they act like they're Alabama.
Wait, so, I have to keep guessing. Oh, this is tough. Can I say, are Celtics fans in there?
The Celtics are number 4.
Wow. Okay. Wait, is there another NBA
like a 3
team?
for
Can you give me
4.
a hint? Like, how many NBA teams are there left?
There is one more NBA team.
What about Knicks fans?
Nope, no Knicks.
Okay, Warriors.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
The Warriors are number 7.
Okay. Okay. So we're banged out basketball. Is there any baseball teams on this list?
There's one baseball team.
Yankees.
Nope.
Red Sox.
Yep. The Boston
Two
Red Sox
Boston.
are number 5.
All right. Is there a hockey team?
This description for them is the epitome of brutality. He writes, "I'll take it easy on you since you're probably still grappling with desegregation."
Oh man,
That's his shot at Boston.
that's funny. Is there any hockey teams?
No.
No. Okay. What about baseball? There's only one, Boston. Or the rest NFL?
There's one more baseball. There's actually one more NBA too.
Oh, one more NBA. Oh, I don't know. Oh, what's this light is being weird. I don't know. NBA? Who the hell sucks? I don't know. Lakers? Lakers.
No, they probably should have been. I would have put them on my list.
Yeah, I would have. Maybe the Bulls. What about the Bulls?
The last NBA team is the number 1, according to this guy, the number 1 worst fan base. I don't know if I agree with it.
Raptors.
And no, not the Raptors.
Philly. Oh, Sixers.
No.
I don't
No.
know. I actually have no idea then.
You want me to give it to you? I'll give you basketball. Or should we just?
Yeah.
Should I just give you the rest?
Yeah, just give me the rest.
All right, I'll just go through the list again. So number 10 is Philadelphia Eagles. Number 9 you didn't get was Notre Dame.
Oh wow, I forgot about them. They are annoying.
haven't won a national championship in over 3 decades, but act like they're Alabama.
That's true. They suck.
Number 8, Texas. Number 7, the Golden State Warriors. Number 6, the St. Louis Cardinals. They make the list.
Oh, really? All right.
Number 5 is the Red Sox. Number 4 is the Celtics. Number 3 is the New England Patriots. So he has 3 Boston teams on the list.
Oh, I didn't even think of the Patriots for some reason.
Number 2 is Dallas Cowboys. I don't know how you didn't get them.
Oh, wow. I blanked out. I forgot of every football team.
And the number 1 most annoying fan base, according to this guy, I guess I feel like he's stuck in 2014, is the Miami Heat.
Yeah, I don't think the Heat are number 1. I think it's the Cowboys number 1, definitely, or Lakers or Patriots.
Yeah, I don't know how he doesn't have the Lakers. Yankees definitely could be there.
Yeah. Those are annoying fan bases.
All right, and our final segment of this show, episode 1. This was one thing that you wanted to bring up, so I'll let you talk about it. It's Eric Musselman talking about players that go number 1 in the NBA draft. So why don't you keep going here?
Yeah, so Eric Musselman, the Must Bus, he had a quote. I saw this on Instagram. I thought it'd be an interesting segment for the show. He was talking about Markelle Fultz. He didn't think Markelle Fultz was even a first-round pick. That's what he said, but he also went on to say, if you cannot help your college team win, there should be a concern, unless it's a guy like Anthony Edwards who had no pieces around him but just stood out so much physically. And Eric Musselman, I think this is an egregious comment because Markelle Fultz had nothing around him, just like Anthony Edwards. If you want to make that comparison, both number 1 picks that scored a lot. And it's even dumber, I think, to say he shouldn't have been a first-round pick. It was literally Ben Simmons, who quit on LSU halfway through the season pretty much, was the number 1 pick. And I don't think winning in college means anything to me. You don't have to do anything. If you're a good player, I'm going to draft you. If you have a lot of potential, I will draft you for my basketball team. Maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. But I was looking at Fultz's stats before, and he averaged 23, 6, and 6 on 47% shooting from the field and 41% from downtown. So you would think like that guy's an instant number 1 pick, future all-star. Obviously, that didn't come true because of the arm injuries and he forgot how to shoot. We all know about that fiasco that happened. But I have no doubt in my mind, I think Markelle Fultz would have been an all-star if he did not forget how to shoot. I think he was a great college player. I don't care that he played at Washington. We always see these random one-and-dones go to shitty schools and do really well. I think he would have been a good player. Maybe he's not a top 50 player of all time if he's not hurt, but I think he's a good player. And I think he just got ruined by injuries. I mean, so I don't think winning matters as much as you think, just like what Muss is saying here, but I think it's the wrong take. And to even say shouldn't have been a first-round pick, come on, there's guys that average like 8 points that got taken in the first round that year. He averaged 23, 6, and 6 on like amazing shooting. How could you and guards? I mean, we like to say guards are less end up being busts than bigs. So why wouldn't you take him first? He was the best prospect that year. He was way better than Lonzo and Tatum.
Yeah, there aren't many point guards that could take in number 1, or many guards in general.
Iverson comes off the top of my head when I think of guards taking number 1.
Stats, it's very impressive, and he definitely would have been a first-round pick. I mean, that obviously is just not true that he would have fallen out of the first round, but I don't know. I remember at the time, I didn't have a lot of confidence in Markelle Fultz as a draft pick. Not that I didn't think he'd be good or be... Not that I didn't think he'd be good or anything. I just... Or be what he is, which... the broken form and everything. But, I don't know. I don't think I would have taken him number 1. I just think there were too many good players.
Yeah,
they're available. I mean, Tatum got taken right there, and he was great. Lonzo was better than him.
You know Lonzo's better than Fultz?
Yeah, I did at the time.
So you would have taken Lonzo 1, and you would have been clowned just as much probably for taking Fultz first.
I would have been clowned just as much, but it still would have been smarter than
I
taking
guess
Fultz.
looking now because the one guy.
I mean, he played in a failed conference. I mean, that's one of your criticisms of players, that
Pac-12.
they can dominate terrible conferences and still win.
But Damian Lillard and Curry dominated terrible conferences, and look at them now. Why can't Fultz be good? I mean, just because he broke his arm, he's not ever going to be good. But it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it kind of is a sad story. The story. About
I really. That's a big what if. Just like Greg Oden, same type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Anthony Edwards was the same way, and he looks like he's a great player. So I guess
I think he's gonna be a good player. I don't think he's gonna be
there
a
might
great
not be
player,
any
but...
trend here.
No,
there might not be any
not.
trend. It might just literally be on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Bona Fide Scrubs, episode 1. Make sure to leave a like, hit subscribe if you want to be along for the journey. We're restarting this. We started this 2 years ago and stopped. So if you're here for that, hopefully you'll be here for this one as well. Leave us a rating or review on Apple. Also, we have over 100 there, so thank you so much to everybody who's done that. But we want to get some new ones in there, so drop a rating if you can. And we will see you hopefully still this week on Friday with episode 2.
Yep. Peace, guys. We survived episode 1. Stay tuned for Friday.